It ended up being a net of $390,000.
Essentially, it was like 388,000.
Okay. Almost $400,000 on one deal. Are you kidding? Where else can you do something like this? People aren't willing to do that, and you were, which is why you got paid so much money. You were willing to do what that guy wasn't willing to do. Well, guys, it's really fun to be on this interview with you guys. You guys look like a bunch of young hustlers going at it, and I think you guys might have one of the most fascinating stories I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of stories, but you guys on a single deal, a couple properties, but on one single deal, you guys did a $390,000 net profit.
Yeah.
Listen to this, guys. $390,000. It was two houses, right? Next to each other? Two houses next to each other, one deal with one seller and one buyer, but they made almost $400,000. So this is going to be really fun to kind of hear how this happened. But tell us a little bit about you guys, what market you're in. You guys are a threesome partnership, correct, in the business? Yeah. Maybe kind of how you guys come together and how you work together. But just let's start there. What was your start like in real estate? How long ago, and where, and a little bit of your beginning?
Yeah, so it was me and my partner Gabe right here. We had originally started it. We saw a video from Paul McComas on TikTok, and he got us into it immediately. And at the time, he was in college and I was in high school. And so we decided that when the summer hit, we were going to come together and just start calling. We started calling, and then we ended up going down to college together. And then me and him ended up dropping out of college because we saw a lot of potential in wholesale. We still hadn't made any money yet, but we were like, we saw the potential. And so from that point forward, we kind of hustled it out. We got in touch with a mentor and he kind of helped show us the ropes for free. We ended up door knocking foreclosures with him for a very long time. And then after, that era was done, we went and found another coach and started closing consistent deals after that. And then he joined on because he felt comfortable clearing houses and we didn't. So he joined on and we ended up adding him to the team. And so now we're essentially in a position where we're trying to scale our business because we closed that big deal. So we've got a couple of things cooking. And
you guys are in Atlanta, correct?
Yeah, we're in Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys are in Atlanta, and this that was your first deal, the big whopper?
No.
Okay.
We had closed a good amount of deals beforehand.
Gotcha.
Not like that one, though.
But not like that one. That one was a crazy deal, and it was just, yeah.
And how long ago was it that you got started?
3 years ago.
Me and him 3 years ago, and then him about 2 years now.
Yeah. Gotcha. And so let's get into that deal in a second here, but how do you guys break up the business between the three of you?
So right now, currently they're both on acquisitions, and then I'm on dispositions.
Gotcha.
And then we have 8 cold callers. So they bring us leads all day long, and they will do the acquisitions, lock them up, and then I'm in charge of selling the deal.
Gotcha. Good. Okay. And are you guys doing virtual on the phone, or do you go on appointment?
We've recently switched more towards phone closing, but we were doing appointments for the longest.
Okay.
But now that the volume is growing so much and we're starting to hire too, that it's shifting more towards that.
Okay. Gotcha. And what's the business look like? Just big picture. Are you doing a couple deals a month, multiple deals a month? How's it look for you guys?
Yeah, so a couple deals a month. We're still trying to completely work on that consistency. Yep. But yeah, we're closing on average probably about 2 deals a month. 2 to 3.
Gotcha. Okay, good. And just curious, what are your guys' ages?
I'm 21,
22,
20.
Look at that. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh. I can't imagine if I was doing what you guys were doing at that age. I got started at 27. And I don't think I had a clue about anything at 22, so just proud of you guys. That's really exciting. I hope people your age see this and watch this and are inspired by you guys. Just curious, what's got the fire under your butt? Like, why are you guys hustling? What's driving that desire to be entrepreneurs?
Well, for me personally, like I came from a welding shop, inhaling metal all day, just hard laboral work and stuff. And like, I don't know, I knew there was something better out there for me. I
Okay.
didn't want to do that all day.
For me, it was like, it was just the drive to make, I mean, almost internet money. Like I can do it, the freedom and the, like, it's mainly just the freedom of it. I can do wholesaling from wherever I want. I just sit in my house all day and call people, and I can make money doing that. And then also the fact that it's real estate. There were so many different avenues that especially me and him had tried to go down with all the e-commerce stuff and all that kind of stuff. And we just, at least me personally, realized like, hey, real estate is real. It's not going anywhere. And so, I think this is going to be the business that's going to help push the needle further.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, it was pretty simple for me. I'd been looking for something for a little bit. I had come to a point where I wasn't fully happy with my situation, my current life, and I was starting to realize, like, if you want your life to look a certain way, you've got to make that happen. And so I just started looking for the opportunity, and it came.
I think there's something about, I think there really is an entrepreneur gene or just an innate drive that some people have. And I see the disparity between this more now than I've ever seen with young people. I either see young people where they're complete delinquents going nowhere in life, or they're like very driven like you guys, and they're highly motivated to make a life and make their own call and build their own business and driven. I don't know. I just find it fascinating because you guys are the exception. Most kids your age, and you know them, you're all around them. They're your peers, people you went to school with, all that don't have that ambition that you guys have. And you guys have this drive that compels you every day to get up and do the hard work. And I don't know. I think it's just phenomenal. I see it in Keith Warren, and I see it. It's not like it doesn't happen. I do see it, but it's just, for me, it's just fascinating. And I just love to see young people that have that drive to hustle, because let's face it, most people in America, there isn't something that's driving you to where something bad's going to happen. Like you're going to be homeless or on the streets or destitute or going without food. That would be something that would get somebody out of bed that I could be like, okay, well, that makes sense. If you don't do it, you're going to starve. Most people have it pretty easy, pretty comfortable. You can go get a job making $20 an hour doing something and pay your bills and have an apartment and then do Netflix every night or whatever. But you guys don't. You want something better, and you're driven for that. And that's internal. That's an internal drive. Nothing's externally is pushing you to that. You just have developed it within yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if I'm being honest, I want to go back to what you said with the entrepreneur gene. I didn't have that. I know my Gabe had it like 100% his whole life. All he wanted to do was become successful. He had that entrepreneurial gene. And then when we started hanging out with each other, it kind of just like his influence rubbed off onto me. And then I know it happened to him as well.
That's that positive peer pressure, being around the right kind of friends. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's talk about this deal, because I'm dying to hear this story. So let's first talk about how you found this deal and then go, each step of the way. So tell us about this.
Well, yeah. So we all kind of played different parts, but to find it, this was when we were still living with our parents. My dad had recently moved into a new neighborhood. And immediately every day I'd be driving to the house once he moved, I noticed these two houses in the neighborhood it's a good neighborhood. And these two houses just look dusty and they haven't been touched for a long time. And we always just thought like, hey, hopefully we meet the seller. Hopefully we can get in touch with them, blah, blah, blah. Eventually I'm driving by one day. She's just out there mowing the lawn. And as I was driving by, I almost went right past her. I was like, oh, that's just somebody keeping up the yard. And I was like, no, let's go talk to her. And so I go up, talk to her, ask her what's going on. She doesn't really know what to do with the houses. Her husband passed like 7 years ago, and she's just kind of stuck. She lives in Alabama, drives 3 hours to go to them. And so we just kind of worked it. Were they rentals or were they just vacant? Oh, so they lived in one, and then the one to the left of them, their son lived in. And then the top unit of that property actually was like a little rental unit. But they had been like family homes for a long time. The husband who passed built them. And yeah, after a couple months, we just kind of kept talking with her, kept calling her every week or so, and eventually got to the contract.
Okay, so that was the owner, the actual owner that was mowing the lawn.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And they would come up from Alabama and mow the lawn once
a month.
Once a month, yeah. And when you say they were distressed, so like neglected on the outside, tall grass, weeds.
Oh yeah, everything everything you could imagine, pretty much.
Yeah,
they're gonna be
and
torn down.
And so you're driving by these two houses, and you're like, man, those look like deals. Oh man, those look like deals. And then one day she's out there mowing the lawn, and you pulled over and talked to her.
Yeah, that was it.
Just like that.
I was, hey, what's your plan? And she goes, I don't know. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I got out of my car and just explained how selling would look, how we could help her, this, and that. And eventually she trusted us enough to start working with us.
Was she thinking, how are you guys going to buy my house cash? You're like 20 years old. Was there any kind of issue there or no?
She
was very distressed.
What's that?
She didn't, I don't know. She didn't have a huge understanding of real estate, I think, and just all of it. And she may have been skeptical, but she didn't show it. She let us.
The reason why I asked that is because you guys may feel this sometimes where you're like, man, I'm a young guy. I don't know if people are going to take me serious. I thought that when I was 27, I thought that. But honestly, if you do a good job of building trust and showing confidence in what you're doing, and that comes across and people get over that real quick. Yeah. So you guys were able to do that. Okay. How long did you nurture that relationship with her before she was ready to sign?
We just waited for her to come back to the property from Alabama.
Yeah.
Really
So it was probably like 2 months.
Yeah.
I would say. And it was like back and forth. We were like, do you want to use, DocuSign? And she felt way more comfortable doing like signing in person. So we just waited till she came back and then went and got the contract signed in person.
Okay. And did she give a price she wanted, or did you make the first? Okay.
Yeah. I think
we both agreed on.
Yeah. She said that she had heard like one number way back in the day that was $250,000 for each house. And we knew it was a great neighborhood. So we were like, yeah, I mean, we can do that. We went back and looked at the comps. And then that's when we realized that it was like
a good deal,
a crazy good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, isn't that interesting? So she said, I'd like 250 for each house. You said we can do that. And, sometimes in our industry, they call that order taking. Like, you just said yes. But sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes the seller, the number they're happy with is a really good deal and it makes a lot of sense. And you're going to make good money. It's the number they asked for. It's the number they want. She clearly was happy with that number. Yeah. Now, at any point in time, she could have hired a real estate agent or got an appraisal or, she could have worked harder to get more money, but she didn't want to. You guys were offering a solution. You said yes to the number she put out there. You made it easy for her and got a deal done. And that's real estate. Like that in a nutshell is how this goes. And people need to understand that. Like, honestly, guys, this is the classic right place at the right time and the stars align. Now,
absolutely. Yep.
I hear Brent Daniels told me one time that the deal of a lifetime comes around once a week if you're in the game. So the thing is, guys, is this is what people might be thinking. Someone might hear this story and think, oh, you guys just got lucky. That was just pure luck. But it's not luck because you guys were in the habit of driving for dollars, stopping and talking to somebody. You were in the habit of cold calling. You guys had created a mindset around, I'm going to be a deal acquisition person. I'm going to find deals everywhere I go. Everything I do is all about conversations, quality conversations with people. And the more you do that, the more you get lucky. Something like this happens and all the stars align and you get the smoking deal. And this is the classic example of right place at the right time. You're in the game, you're doing the work, and something magical happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got each one for $250.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she came back probably to mow the lawn for the last time. And you signed the agreement with her for $250. Then what happened?
So
what happened was it was the craziest thing. I went on my first appointment ever. I was talking to this realtor guy and we needed lending for the properties because we've had experience with people taking our deals in the
We're
past.
gonna wholesale
Yeah, we wanted to wholesale them.
You wanted to buy these. You wanted to buy these.
Yeah,
because the fee was so big. We just wanted to secure it and make sure nobody could mess with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So
after-
when you say that, you're like, we're not double closing. We're actually gonna buy these houses.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and another reason we did that was because we had a previous buyer. So I marketed it out to like a very select few of my buyers. And we had a buyer that came in and was like, yeah, I mean, we can make this work at 465 per house. We're going to make this happen, blah, blah, blah. And here comes 2 weeks away from closing. They're like, we can't do it. We can't do it. And
They
so
backed
we were
out.
like, well, we already have the contract in place with the seller. So why don't we just close on them ourselves and then we can sell them down the line? And then
initially, we had one lender who was trying to kind of screw us out of like 100,000 of the deal. So then I go on this appointment. I discuss the property that I'm in with the guy. That one's not going to work. But I start talking to him about this deal, and he's like, it was the craziest thing ever. Within 30 minutes, I somehow got him to give $500,000 to 3 young guys to lend on these properties with he'd get back 45K.
yeah.
Okay. So this was a private money lender, not like a hard money lender.
He was just a guy, and he was like, I got a bunch of cash laying around in my savings account, so nothing's gonna happen with it. I mean, may as well. I trust these 3 guys. He drove by the properties. We were on phone calls with him back and forth trying to get everything moving, and then he agreed, and he was.
And he agreed to fund 100%, so $500,000.
100%.
100% he funded. And what was there interest in points or like a flat number?
It was 10% interest. So he charged us $50,000 for that money. And then
so that's just 10 points, not so like
just 10
whether
points.
you paid him back a day later or 6 months later, it was $50,000.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, let's make sure you understand that. It wasn't like I'm going to pay 12% interest and that's going to accrue. And then whatever it is plus some points. It was just a flat fee of 10 points to do the loan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he have a time frame? Was there like 90 days or 100?
Yes, it was 90 days, 90-day time. And so at that point, we were like, okay, now we got to get to work and get these things sold. And so then I started reaching out to a couple other buyers that I had. I sent now that we had bought them, I sent an email blast out to like a lot of my buyers just so I could get as many offers as I could. And one buyer reached back out, and this buyer, like, let's say the houses are right here. The buyer lived on the street behind the houses. And all he does is new builds. So he only works in this little area in Atlanta. It's like Decatur, Georgia. He only works in Decatur, Georgia. And he goes, yeah, man, I mean, I'll do it for $475 per house. I just need 45-day close. And we were like, okay, we're good with that. We can make that work. And when I had originally reached out to him with it, he was like, dude, you've got to be kidding me, man. I've tried to reach out to this seller for the last 5 years, and I have not been able to get anything moving. Everybody in the neighborhood's calling me saying, Patrick, you need to pick up these houses. Come on. And then he was like, and then you guys brought them to me. So of course I have to buy the houses. So 45 days later, we sat down at the closing table with him, and he was so happy. He was like, I finally got these houses. He's going to bulldoze them and build brand new houses there. So.
He's tearing them down.
Yeah.
Wow. Now let me ask you a question, Charlie. Why didn't you list it on the MLS once you bought them?
We had thought about that, but we didn't we just didn't have much time. I mean, we probably could have gotten them sold on the MLS at probably even at a higher rate, but we just wanted to keep it simple.
That makes sense.
Stick to what we do and, get the deal done.
Yeah, because you only had 90 days, so you don't want to mess around, sit on market too long, and then be in trouble with your lender. That makes sense. Yeah. Ideally, if you could have structured that loan with the lender for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have more breathing room, because listen, whenever you can take something down, the ideal exit is MLS on market because you get the most eyeballs on your deal.
Yeah.
But in this case, I don't know. It worked out well because you had that outlier buyer right there that you were able to find. And when I say outlier, meaning there's something unique going on that makes the deal really special to them, which happens to be he lives right there and it's right in his little wheelhouse and he wants to build. What's he going to build there? $1 million homes?
Yeah.
So he expects to be able to sell them off for 1.7 million. We were out there. We actually, my mom helped us do an estate sale because they left everything in there. So my mom came in, put everything together and then we had an estate sale one weekend. And the entire weekend, it was like pretty much every single person from the neighborhood was walking through the houses. They had never seen the inside. So they were all very curious about what it was like. And they were all talking to us like, I'm so glad you guys are doing something. Because
but isn't it, here's what I find fascinating about this story. The guy that ended up buying, your end buyer, lived behind these houses.
Yeah.
Had made an effort, so he says, for 5 years. But Gabe just gets out of his car and talks to the lady while she's there mowing the lawn. He could have done that.
Well,
but here's the thing. People aren't willing to do that. And you were, which is why you got paid so much money. You were willing to do what that guy wasn't willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Are you listening to this right now? Are you willing to do what other people aren't willing to do? You guys are. You guys are willing to get on the phones and pound the phones all day long and drive around and get out and talk to people. Like, you're willing to do the work deserving of deals and making money, which is why you guys are. Just like that. I think it's really that simple. Are you willing to do what it takes to get deals? And you guys are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And did that guy have was there any hangups with closing? Did he did he know what you bought him for, or none of that mattered?
Right, so he found out at the closing table, and he said these words exactly. He goes, "If I knew how much you guys got this for, I probably wouldn't have signed, but it's okay because you make money off of other people and I make money off of other people." So he's going to make a lot of money on those houses.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and he saw how he also, we were able to sit down with him for a good minute before, like, cause he showed up to the closing office same time we did. We were just chatting it up. He actually, and the first house he ever built was his dad's old house, which was such a wild situation.
Yeah.
And he grew up, or he didn't grow up, but he lived like right down the street from both me and Gabe when we were growing up. My mom knows who he is. It was just like a really cool experience.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll sell more deals to him?
Oh yeah.
Anything
that we find there that's a teardown or a lot, like he's going to be first call every time.
But and that ended up being after you paid the lender off, closing fees, lender, all that. It ended up being a net of $390,000.
Essentially, it was like $388,000.
Okay, almost $400,000 on one deal where Gabe got out of his freaking car and talked to a lady mowing the lawn. Like, are you kidding? Where else can you do something like this? I mean, like, it still blows my mind. I hear, this happens every day, but it still just blows my mind. It's so cool that you guys did that. Isn't that fun?
No, it's awesome. I appreciate it. No, it's
how has that changed things for you guys?
Well, if you can see, we moved into a new apartment, finally moved out of our parents' house. We all moved in together. And I mean, like, we really don't have to worry about anything. Like, beforehand, all three of us would be eating ramen noodles every day because we just like, that was the only thing that we could eat. And we were trying to like just figure out a way to make a little more money so we never had to worry about it again. Now we're in a position where, we can start scaling our business, and then we really don't ever have to worry about anything again.
Yeah, it's really cool. You guys be smart with that money, reinvest it carefully, How's your support around you with your family? What do they think of all this?
They don't like.
At first, they thought it was a scam. Yeah. They thought we were
And now, at least my parents, they're super proud of everything that I've been able to accomplish.
Yeah. You guys leave a comment and say, you guys are flipping geniuses. Super proud of you guys. Yeah. Triple flipping geniuses. That's right, Cherie. Triple flipping geniuses.